Good Monday morning and welcome to Drive Time, the best, worst show ever. In the driver's seat this morning, one of my favorite young people from our area, Chandler McBride. Good morning, Chandler, and thanks for being here.
Morning, DJ. Thanks for having me.
Want to get a few good mornings out of the way, and then we'll get into it. I love the backdrop, Shark, by the way. Mark Miller on the ones and the twos here at Studio B. Very nice. Very nice, Shark. Good morning, Wanda Green. Sherry Weaver, good morning to you. Miss McKenzie, my fourth grade teacher. Good morning, Miss McKenzie. Hot Rod, good morning. Do you have it pulled up?
Yeah. Best substitute ever, Miss McKenzie.
What about that? What about that? The backdrop?
It looks like we're already in Arkansas.
Man, that is nice, is it not? Chandler McBride, TR Middle Class of 2019.
Indeed.
Got a lot of things that we want to get into. We're not pushed for time. We're going to take our time and have a good time with it. But I want to start with, I'm always interested in if young people are having the same experience here as maybe I did or others. You know, I think it's the greatest community in the world. I mean, Bruton's not perfect, nor is any place. But when you get down to the brass tacks of it, it's a wonderful place. I vacation here, by the way.
Yeah.
I love Bruton, and I'd be interested to hear you speak to a little bit of it about what your experience was. You know, probably more so as a teenager and a high school student. But how has Bruton been for you and to you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it starts, you know, at every single level of where you're at. It starts with the people, you know, and it's about the relationships that you build, and they will take you where you want to go. And the people in Bruton have always been phenomenal to me personally. And, you know, everybody knows everybody. It's a small town. Everybody knows what's going on. And so every single person that has made an impact on my life is from Bruton, you know. And it propels you into the next phases and the next steps to be able to go and meet different people. But the people of Bruton are phenomenal. But, I mean, obviously my experience in high school was great. My teachers were all phenomenal. They prepared me for what was next. And, you know, it's all led to this point. But my teenage experience was great. You know, I think that, you know, my parents definitely sheltered me a little bit. And so I didn't get a full overview experience of what a Tallahassee, for instance, was like.
Yeah.
Until I actually got down there and started living it. But, you know, from that standpoint, Bruton was phenomenal to me. And I hope that at some point I'll be able to give back to it as much as it has given to me.
Well, you know, you speak about experiences and whatnot, and so many things go on during the course of the year in different stages of our life. And
right.
One of the things that's really big here, and it's always, in my mind, been like an extra holiday, is homecoming.
Yes.
I mean, homecoming at TR Miller, it's just different.
Right. No,
I mean, it's just different. And I got to, in an indirect way, share some of those experiences with you and your crew during homecoming. Y'all paid me a visit. Very creative folks.
My favorite house to roll. My favorite one. And you know what? I appreciated that you loved it as much as we did.
I loved it.
You fed into it.
I loved it. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm not a creative person. I'm just not. But the different things that have happened, you know, at my house and to me over the courses of the years of homecoming, as I've lived in the area. I've lived there now, I think, for for 8 years.
Right.
And I get visited every year. And I guess I'd probably be disappointed if I didn't. But y'all's particular year, I came out and I saw the work from the night before had been done. I said, that's pretty good stuff. Then I looked over my driveway and I said, have they spray painted my driveway? Everything's been fun. I mean, and I'm a fun guy. I like to have a good time. I said, did they spray painted my driveway? And I was getting hot.
Yeah.
And I walked out there and it was flour.
Yeah. That's even worse. That's even worse than spray paint.
When flour gets a little wet, it don't come up real easy.
Oh no.
So it was. I want to be careful how I say this. I've been forked.
Yeah.
I've been floured. I've had my car moved. I've had it saran wrapped, which I thought was ingenious.
Right. With the Vaseline.
I had the Vaseline.
Oh, yeah.
But it's been it's been a little bit of everything. But y'all were good. Y'all were. I was impressed with the flour. That was the creativity there was good. That was interesting.
Well, I got to tell you this, DJ. I think that brought up one of my favorite memories from high school. I will never forget. I've never seen anything like this in my life. There were about 80 kids spanning from the sophomore class to the senior class in 2019, and we were going to roll the Milligan's house.
Yeah.
And we all parked at the middle school, and we were running down the hill. I've told people it legitimately looked like an army running down the hill, and I will never forget. We were everybody like it was just massive. Everybody was going in at once, throwing toilet paper, and I believe that Miss Milligan was on the porch, and it didn't stop anybody. But I remember I legitimately heard sirens. Sirens were coming, and everybody took off. It was literally a scene out of a movie, but it was
good times.
Homecoming was the week.
Good times. Good morning, Kim Williams, one of the girls of 87. Speaking of homecoming, Timmy Wiggins, good morning to you. Good morning, pal. Kenwood, good morning, Kenwood. Chief Stanton's in. Good morning to you, Chief. Well, Kristen said good morning to you. K Money said good morning to you, so I guess I'll let you say good morning back
Good
to
morning,
her.
Kristen.
Miss McGraw, good morning.
It's my second mom.
Good morning, Miss Gail. Raj, good morning, Raj. Ginger Norsworthy, good morning to you. Yeah, good times. You talked about, your experience there at T.R. Miller, and of course, when you get ready to move on, what kind of student were you?
Yeah.
Did the academics prepare you for the next step? I think you went from T.R. Miller to Coastal, and
That's
then from
correct. Coastal,
of course, to Florida State. We'll
Right.
get into all that. But how did your academia experience at T.R. Miller prepare you moving forward?
Well, as I mentioned to you, DJ, before the show, I was not a very good student in high school. I remember Mr. Doug Garrity, who was the assistant principal at the time, also my AP history teacher, legitimately called my mom and said that I was the laziest student that he ever had.
No way.
He told her that. And, of course, Courtney McBride did not like that very much. But, no, I was not a very good student at all, very lazy. I can't not remember studying for a test. I mean, I was one of the kids that you get the book at the beginning of the year and it's got dust on it by the end of the year because I'm not opening it.
Yeah.
It's just going to come to me and we'll worry about the rest later. Progress reports would come home. There'd be an F on the progress report. And every time my mom and now my brothers have actually adapted the phrase as well because they've kind of caught on. They've learned from the best. And all I would say is I got it. And then I come home and there'd be, a C or a B on the report card.
Yeah.
That's really all you needed. And that's probably why I ended up at Coastal and not Florida State to begin with. But I'll tell you, going from there to and I'll say this: it was not the teacher's fault. I had some phenomenal teachers.
It's funny you say that because we talk about it here often, and I can't mean this any more than I'm saying it now. We were surrounded by greatness. If there was, I'm 54. How old are you?
23.
Okay. When you get older, there's things and you think about things differently. You wish you could go back and get do-overs. Well, life isn't necessarily set up for do-overs. If there was one thing I could do, I would go back and I would get all of my teachers from the first grade to my senior in high school. We didn't have city kindergarten back in my day, but I would get all of my teachers and try to get them in a room and tell them how much I appreciated them and apologize. I wasn't a huge problem, but I didn't always act right either.
Right.
I mean, I didn't pay attention like I should have. But I wish I could get all them back and tell them that I knew they were great. I just didn't buy in like I should have as a younger person. But we have a great support staff in place here. All of our area schools do. I mean, over at WS Neal, Flomaton, it doesn't matter. But Yeah, I was in the same boat with you. You know, I didn't. I was there for the social. I
Absolutely.
wasn't
No,
there to
yeah, yeah.
learn. I didn't care about it. A couple of different times, I was real close into being in the class of 1989 instead of 88. To be honest with you, it was it was that way. But that's interesting. So if you had, if there's some parents or some grandparents out here, or people who, or maybe some young folks in with us, if you had a piece of advice to give some 15 to 16 and 17-year-old kids right now that may not have found their way, what would you offer up to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it really just depends on the drive and what you want to do. You know, if you're looking to go to a 4-year university coming out of high school, it matters. You know, I think that I came to terms about my junior year that, you know, I wanted to go to Florida State. I could have probably went to a Troy or went to somewhere like that coming out. But, you know, I mean, I grew up a Florida State fan, and my dream was to go to Florida State. It's a very competitive academic school, and you know, I would just say that you can always eventually find your way. Just because you don't start right now doesn't mean you won't. But ultimately, it's just about what you put into is what you're going to get back. That's a true statement.
You know, and finding your way, a piece of that, and it certainly was for me, is maturity. I mean,
Absolutely.
but you can still be a good.
I was not ready to go.
but
I
you-
was not.
But you can still be a good person and be a little bit of a goofball. I mean, like I
Absolutely.
thought,
Oh.
you know, I wasn't, I didn't cause any trouble. I'm not looking for any
Right.
trouble, and I know you didn't either. But I mean, so even though you're a little bit got some knucklehead in you, you can still be a good person. You can
Right.
still make good decisions that are not going to negatively impact your
Sure.
life moving forward, and keep you from having opportunities that may come your way and have certainly come
Right.
yours. And we're going to get into some of that in a minute. And I can't believe that I didn't start with this. How about the Knowles making
about the
Omaha,
Knowles?
punching
Knowles
their
in
ticket,
Omaha.
man? Huh?
It matters on the field.
That it matters on the field, and
Matters
you know,
on
and I
the
want
field.
you to know. I don't know if you know this or not. We with Whopper recognized Florida State as the co-national champions last year in football. Y'all won it.
We won it.
Y'all in Michigan, you did it on the field, and then in college baseball, unlike college football, you have to do it on the field. Nobody's voted in anywhere. You have
Nobody,
to go
right.
out and beat somebody to beat somebody. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Feels good,
Well,
doesn't it?
It absolutely does. I'll tell you, you know, I was at the ACC championship in Charlotte. Playoff show was Sunday, and I followed the betting markets very closely. And I knew, I remember we were driving home. We were at the Cracker Barrel in Clemson, South Carolina. There were some Clemson fans in there, and they're like, "Oh, congratulations! You know, you made the playoffs." And I remember, like, I was refreshing that page every 2 minutes. And we were like minus 700. And those who are not familiar with betting odds, that's like you're a lock.
Yeah.
You're in.
Yeah.
And I watched it go from minus 700 to minus 500 to minus 350 to minus 150. And then about 3 minutes before the selection show started, we were at plus 105. And I just watched Bama creep up. It was a sickening feeling.
I've never heard that story. That's great.
It was sickening.
Is that when you figured out, or is
And before the show ever started, I remember we got in the car. It was me, my parents, Landon Barrentine, and you know, let me tell you, DJ, Landon Barrentine's an Alabama fan, and he's also from Bruton. For those who don't know him, and I just remember I was like already sick in my stomach, and I remember telling my parents, I was like, we're not in. Now, Clemson, South Carolina is about 6.5 hours from Bruton. At 12:07, I believe it was, I saw Texas pop up at 3, and I knew that it had been leaked out.
Yeah.
And also, Kirk Herbstreit had 4 helmets behind him.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at it, every single week, the teams were in order behind him with the helmets, and Florida State's helmet wasn't behind him. So I knew.
Yeah.
And so that kind of prepared me to see Alabama pop up at 4, but it didn't make the pain any less. I did not say a word.
I've never heard that
From
story.
Clemson to
So you were
Bruton.
watching you were watching the money line.
I was watching the betting
That
odds.
had to be gut wrenching. Is it says, oh no, oh no,
Oh, no.
oh no.
Well, and I'll tell you, I remember walking out of the stadium that night, and my group of roommates were also in Charlotte, and they were pretty hammered this night. I mean, they were bad. But they're hugging, and I was like, and growing up here,
Yeah.
you know, we deal with the Alabama fans all the time, and it's
Yes,
tough
we do.
sometimes. It's tough.
It's real tough.
But you know, I think that why did it have to be them? You know, it could have been anybody, and if it had been anybody else, they would not have gotten in.
Yeah.
But since it was Saban, you know.
Was that the you probably always knew it, but did that validate or verify that, hey, this is big business?
Yeah. Yeah. But we're a big brand too.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
I'll tell you, man, it was a screw job. I
But
mean, just unbelievable.
I'm telling you, for those of you who like college football and you watch College Game Day, they're actually going to be at the Florida State Georgia Tech game in Ireland to open the season, week 0.
I didn't know that y'all were playing them over there.
Going to Ireland.
Yeah.
And I am legitimately concerned for the safety of that crew.
Yeah.
Especially with Nick Saban on there now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they are going to get some things thrown at them by Florida State fans. But
well, you punched your ticket in baseball. You earned it on the field, as we mentioned.
Right.
What kind of shot you give the Noles going out?
Our pitching, if we stay in the winner's bracket, sky's the limit. If we get into the loser's bracket early, we play Tennessee on Friday to start it off. I mean, number 1 seed, we're going right in.
I hope you kill those guys.
I would love to. But I would say, if we stay in the winner's bracket, I would feel great about it. But if we ever go into the loser's bracket, it's probably going to be a tough out.
A couple of weeks ago, you may not remember this. I told you, I said, I've not really been following the college baseball outside the SEC. Did y'all have a good chance? And you said, yeah. You knew that y'all were good. Obviously, you had a front row seat for it all year. Sure. We'll get in that in a minute. But you felt like that it'd be somewhat of a disappointment if y'all didn't make it to Omaha.
Yeah, well, we went 23-31 last year, and I sat through that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was bad. First-year head coach, but Link Jarrett's one of the best in the business. But we came out this year. We did some good things in the transfer portal. And baseball is one of those sports where it's just really about getting a group of guys who collectively can do it. You're pitching. I mean, it's all about your pitching.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all have been to Omaha dozens of times, but never won it.
23 times, never won it.
Probably the most anybody's been and not won it, right?
Yes.
Or pretty close.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, maybe this is the year.
Well, we hope so.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna pull for Florida State.
You should.
I don't have a dog in the race out there, a top dog. So I'm gonna get on board with the Noles.
Absolutely.
And try to see if I can bring some mojo your way.
Well, I will tell you, we hosted Alabama in regionals, and I had to call every single game during that regional, so it was pretty sweet watching them go 0-2.
Speaking of sweet, I'm loving the stash, man.
Okay.
Not everybody can do it.
Not everybody can do it, and I'll tell you. So every year it's a tradition between me and a group of friends, my roommates.
Yeah.
A couple of them can't grow facial hair, so it's tough for them. But the other 2
can't
of
grow
us
hair, man.
can't do it.
That's gotta suck.
Who?
Man,
how would that happen?
That's terrible.
We started this tradition in 2019 that we call it the regional stash.
Yeah.
And so it kind of started. We've went 0-2 every time we've done it, but we said this is going to be the year.
This is the year.
This is the year. And since I've started growing the stash, shave everything else, keep the stash.
Yeah.
We're 5-0, and so I can't shave it.
You got to go with it. It looks good.
And if that means I have to walk into my job next Monday with stash, then so be it.
Shark, is there a way that you can go in on the socks? I'm liking the. I'm digging the socks as well. I don't know if you can pick up Chandler socks or not, but that's sharp looking swag. I like that.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Good morning, Coach Campbell. Chief Stanton says that your daddy was a Century Black Cat back in the day.
He was. He says he's a bad man. I don't really know if that's true or not. The stories I've heard,
Good morning, Chef Adam. Willie Smith, good morning to you. Earl Crook, good morning, my friend. Hope all is well. Hope you had a good weekend. All right, we talked about you coming out of T.R. Miller. We talked about a little bit about academics were not a priority at that point.
Sure.
So it went to Coastal.
Yep.
How was that experience?
Yeah, it was amazing for me. That's really where my maturity stage took growth.
Yeah.
And it took
It
off.
happens.
And that's really where I started to place the priority on academics.
Yeah.
Because I knew that my next step was going to be Florida State, and if I didn't do it there, it wasn't going to happen. And so my professors out there were phenomenal, involved in several leadership activities, and that's also what started for me, really just this passion, which just has opened the doors to just tons of opportunity with Michael English to do the broadcast with T.R. Miller football. Got to see them go on and run into the Final Four. Into the semifinals, and that really unlocked the passion for me. I mean, I remember just walking up to him one day and I was like, "Hey, I see you don't have anybody. I'd love to just do one game with you." And we got on the air. I think it was against Bayside at home one Friday night, and he was like, "Man, you did an awesome job. Like, we just do it for the rest of the year."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." And so it really just unlocked something inside of me to be like, "Man, I really enjoyed that a lot." And I text him frequently and give him updates on what's going on. But he's been a huge support for me as well, and it's kind of helped me along my journey. And so it just goes back to the people and your
Yeah.
support staff. But Coastal was great for me. I mean, it just propelled me into what was next, and obviously I went from there straight to Florida State, and the rest has been history.
Coastal tucked away over there in Alco is another one of those gems for our community.
Right.
I mean, it's just like you mentioned, and I should have. When I came out of Miller, I went straight to Auburn, and you get to sink or you swim. I sunk, and I
Right.
sunk quick. I should have. I was the perfect candidate to go to Coastal and chose not to. But it's nice to have that out there. I think
Absolutely.
there's a lot to be said for being on campus. A lot of the learning now takes place online, and I get it. I did some of that
Right.
myself when I was coming out. But there's something about being on campus and the social part of it, and being in the classroom with the teacher.
Yep.
Whether or not you see eye to eye on everything, learning to work through things that are outside your comfort
Sure thing.
zone is,
Right.
is is a part of it. And I think we're just so fortunate to have Coastal out there. For any young person who hasn't quite made up their mind yet of what the next step is, that's a viable option. Plus, they have a great golf team. But it's but Coastal, two thumbs up to Coastal, and I think you would say the same.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the big thing for everybody, I mean, you're taking the same classes at Coastal that you would be in a major
Sure.
university. So there's no difference in that. You get, more one-on-one time with your professor. It's from a learning experience standpoint at A plus.
Yeah.
And I think that there's different opportunities, and everybody's like, oh, I don't want to stay in Bruton. I don't want to, I want to go off and experience it. And I think that that's certainly fair.
Yeah, sure.
As at this age, you need to go out and
Yeah.
experience things. But for me personally, it just worked out for me, and really was the perfect fit at the time, and it really helped me to get a couple extra years of maturity and save some money in the process. I mean, it was perfect for me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and you hit on it, especially those first 2-year classes. They're
same.
going to be the same
Correct.
wherever you go. I mean,
Right.
English for the most part is English. History is history.
Right.
The Germans bombed Pearl Harbor everywhere you go, and it wasn't over. It wasn't over when that
It
happened.
was not.
It was not over. Good morning, Sandy Townsend. Appreciate you bringing that up and speaking to the Coastal Alabama experience and the asset that it is. Okay, so when you're leaving JUCO, by the way I talk about it, you're a JUCO All-American. You're now a
JUCO
5-star.
All-American.
You're a 5-star recruit, fixing to take it to the big stage. Florida State's been in your heart for forever.
Right.
You don't have a memory that doesn't include Florida State. You did take a couple of visits. I think we had you in for an official visit at
Yeah,
Auburn.
did.
I think it went well. Speak
well.
to the official visits, how they went. Did it tug at your heart any? Was it a nice experience? Speak
yeah.
a little bit to that.
Well, there were only two.
Okay.
It was Florida State and Auburn.
So you didn't go to UAT on a visit.
I did not.
Okay.
I mean, Auburn, my mom graduated from Auburn. My family are big Auburn Tigers, and, it was in state, and going to Florida State, out of state was going to have to be paid, and so it was a significantly bigger financial commitment, which my parents have been great throughout that process in helping me. But no, I went to Auburn, and I've been to several Auburn football games, some big time ones. I remember back in 2010, I got to go watch Cam Newton play LSU.
Yeah.
Throughout Bo Nix 2019 Georgia, I got to watch them beat Alabama. I've seen it all, and so Auburn's always held a special place in my heart as well, and certainly could be a desirable location later down the road for me. But I would. It was amazing. I have nothing but good things to say about it, and I mean, it was phenomenal. And I love Auburn and the people who are there. That's it. Again, it's all about the people, but. Obviously, going to Florida State, I mean, I've been a Florida State fan since I've been a little boy, and that was just always that was kind of the whole point of the 2 years at Coastal. We'll do 2, and then we'll go to Tallahassee, and then obviously once I got there, the sky was the limit. I think that I made the right choice, just based on what's transpired over the last 3 years. But no, nothing but good things to say about Auburn. I can give you a War Eagle for that.
Thank you, Chandler. Auburn's lost, Florida State's gain. You win some, you lose some. But you obviously it worked out well for you, and it was the right choice for you. And we were
Absolutely.
excited that things went as well as they did. When you're at Florida State, and kind of coming off your experience with doing some of the T.R. Miller football games or whatnot, you jumped in and sought some opportunities
Right.
at Florida State's athletic department. Talked about the early days of that, how you started, where it ended up, and what you just finished doing, this past spring.
Yeah. When I got to Florida State, athletics has always been my passion, and as soon as I got there, it was kind of ironic. My roommate's girlfriend at the time was friends with someone who worked in the athletic department, and he had posted on Facebook and said, I need an intern. And she's like, you should seek that out. Really hadn't, I mean, it was a month after I got there probably. And so I messaged him, and we set up an interview and went to his office and just told him about, my passion for Florida State. And, that's not really hard for me to give off. And he literally hired me on the spot. Was like, I don't need to interview anymore. I've got a couple more, but you're the guy. And so he ended up being the director of development and plan giving, which for those who are kind of unfamiliar with that terminology, it's basically just towards the top of a booster chain fundraising. Everybody has it in their athletic department's got to have it.
Yep.
Towards the top of the chain on that side of things. And so, I mean, I got just a trove of experience with him. And then he ended up being the president of the Tallahassee Quarterback Club, which got me involved there. Gotten to meet tons of speakers, people that we brought in off game day, Desmond Howard. We've had coaches come in. We had Ed Orgeron. I've gotten to do all, and so that's been an awesome experience as well. But just kind of did that with him and kind of grew a passion for that side of the industry just because of the people interaction. I'm a people person, and I like talking with people and doing all that stuff. And then for the university, raising funds, it's so important. And, we can talk about the NIL and all that stuff later because it's part of it now as well.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
But, from there, and then that was on that side of things. And then I saw a Twitter post from the Florida State baseball account the first year that I was down there that said, hey, we're looking for a PA announcer. And obviously, I've done a lot with Michael on the radio side of things.
PA's different, man.
It's way different.
PA's a lot different than the radio
different.
stuff.
Oh, I mean, very different.
Yeah.
And so I just happened to reach out. It was a completely separate venture from the booster side of things. But reached out to the girl who had put it out there, and she was like, okay, well, here's a script. We're going to, have you read that. Just send a video back in. And so I did, and they reached back out. We had a scrimmage, preseason to the season actually starting, and went in there and did a pretty well job.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we'll get back to you. It took like 3 or 4 weeks, and they said, okay, well, our guys actually decided that he's going to stick around, but we would like for you to be our backup PA announcer.
Did you know it was going to take 3 or 4 weeks, or did you just assume that you were out because it was taking?
Honestly, yeah, I thought I was out. I stayed on top of them pretty hard.
Yeah.
And she was like, we just don't know. We don't know. And it's like, okay. But obviously I knew that the guy that was there has, he had planned to do about half the season at the time. Then he was going to take a step back. And yeah, but they just messaged me one day and they were like, hey, we want you to be our backup. It's like, yes, I'm in. You'll get 5 or 6 games this year.
Yeah.
And then, just moving forward. And so I kind of always figured that I would just be the backup to this guy because people don't typically give that job up because it's just incredible to do. But literally at the end of year 1, and the guy who did it, we've developed a relationship as well, and he's awesome. But she texted me one day and was like, hey, he's stepping down. I'm like, do you want the job?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
That's amazing.
I want the job. So what an incredible experience it was.
How many play dates did you have this year at home?
Oh, we had 36 home games.
36 home games.
So, I didn't miss a one.
Are you doing a pregame prior to, or is it strictly just first pitch to final out?
No, it's everything.
Pregame, the game,
reads,
postgame.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
But, it's been just an incredible experience to be around those guys and around the coaches and around the people.
Now, was that a paying gig, or was that was
yeah.
And a lot of people this doesn't if the first pitch, say on Friday nights at 7:00, what time do you get there and what time do you leave?
So typically we're 2 hours before. If we have a 7:00 pitch, you're there from 5 to probably 11 at night.
Yeah.
That depends. If it goes to extras, then
that's what I'm saying. It's a good little time block, a time commitment.
That's a very big time
you
commitment.
put into it. And you said you had 36
home games.
36 home games.
And then we hosted a regional a couple of weekends ago. We were literally there from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Because we had to call every game. But it was just an incredible experience.
Do you get free concessions?
Well, so we actually now this is the part right here that's incredible.
Yeah.
They cater things into the press box.
Oh yeah.
So
it's different. Used to do that.
And it's an incredible thing.
Yeah.
I wish we'd have had that at Terra Miller.
Yeah. It should. They should.
Well, I'll make that request.
Yeah, do it.
Me and Alford are close.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got that.
get it. Yeah, get it done, man.
But
Gotta have
it's
snacks.
been no, yeah, you have to. But they would cater things into the press box, and then obviously you would just had free reign to go get whatever. But yeah, what an incredible experience it was. It's propelled me, and in every job interview that I've had following that, everybody always asks about it and says, why don't you want to do that? And it's something that I enjoy doing on the side, and if other experiences or other opportunities present themselves down the line, certainly I would entertain that because it's something that I love doing.
Yeah.
But it was.
And what a way to get sent off.
Man.
Now, will you have any radio responsibilities in Omaha?
No radio
So
responsibilities.
you're done. Like
I'm
that.
done.
That
That's
is
it.
that has come to the bell. Well, what a ride that was, man.
Got to go out. Send them
You went
Omaha
out in style, yeah.
and
that
play at
was
home.
Great.
Yeah.
And you get to know the coaches on a little more personal level. Obviously,
Right.
are they good to maybe give you some backdrop information on if this guy was coming off an injury or this guy? I mean, did they give you some stuff to help to facilitate the game day broadcast?
Our coach is one of the he's not going to say anything about anybody's injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, no. But I mean, we have a great coaching staff. There's been a lot of turnover. But no, it's every part of it has just been phenomenal.
I'm going to kind of come off this just for a second. One of the things we do here, and one of the things that Drive Time was founded on, is we celebrate being alive. We celebrate community.
Absolutely, yeah.
We don't get caught up in all the different things that go on in this crazy world, and we certainly acknowledge they are going on. But we want this to serve as just a break from that. We don't get into hot button issues. We don't get into things that are gonna push buttons on people. But I feel led to say this because I know you,
Right.
and I know that hearing your passion, and your journey, growing up, one of the things that's been very consistent with you is your commitment to Christ.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here watching you talk and listening to you speak about how things have kind of fallen in line. And when you have that alignment, when you're centered as you should be, there's going to be some adversity. There's going to be some pitfalls, but you kind of stay tethered, so to speak, to the journey and the goal. And I think that none of this happens without that. And I think you would be the first to say so.
Yeah. I mean, every part of I mean, my mom is a very faith-based person, and she, she says all the time, everything that I've prayed for you has come to fruition, and even more so. But yeah, I mean, the church that I went to in Tallahassee was great. I had so much support from that side of things as well. But yeah, I mean, all glory to God for every single thing that has transpired, because like you said, without him, I mean, none of this would be possible. And so it's definitely, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that. And, something else that we got to do, and probably my greatest achievement while at Florida State was back in February, we had a thing that actually started at Auburn. Coach Pruitt and his wife kind of started this movement it's called Unite Us, and we brought it to Florida State. And
Really?
Florida
Cool.
State is it's a massive party school. I mean, and we had 6,000 kids, college students. It was a free event. Come in to the Civic Center, and just watching people interact in that and being like, man, I got to put my stamp on that. That was like I would say that was my greatest achievement at Florida State, even with all the personal things that I got to achieve and had opportunities to be presented with. That took the cake.
That just gave me chills.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
That was awesome.
Coach Pruitt from the Dirty 30 down
Yes,
the road
sir.
at Atmore,
Absolutely.
another fine person, and it kind of we say it tongue in cheek here, but we say everything runs through the
Everything runs
through
through Dirty 30.
everything, and it's wild, is it not?
And it is. It's true.
It is the truth, and and we talk about having that personal alignment. I think it goes hand in hand with our community. When
Absolutely.
Bruton's been at its best, you have city government, you have city schools, you have the retail, you
Right.
have the YMCA is certainly a big part of our community. And when everybody's pulling that rope in the same direction, things can happen.
Absolutely.
But when you get the different agendas, and it's kind of alignment's important, whether it's as a community or certainly as a person.
And it really it all started for me at the YMCA.
Yeah.
First job.
That's
I mean,
right.
I was out on the
Yeah,
fields.
that's right.
We were pouring dirt. I mean,
hey, and we get it
raining.
right, right?
Oh yeah,
First class.
First
Remember we
class.
talking first class. We're going to troubleshoot, and this is going to be
This
first
is-
class. We don't
absolutely.
know who's going to win the game.
Don't know.
But the lines are going to be chalked.
They
We're going to have
will.
we're going to have
Absolutely.
we're going to have the pearls. The concession stands going to be
Everything's
rocking.
oh yeah,
It's going to be first class.
absolutely.
If the product on the field, that's on the coaches
That's
and
on them.
players. But we took care of it, didn't we?
Absolutely,
Those were some
we
good
did.
days. Those were good days. You were
They
my
were.
guy. I kind of forgotten about that. Yeah, but
They were good days. Hot days, but
hot
good days.
But those were good days.
days.
Part of the journey, definitely. All right, so we've graduated Florida State.
Yep.
Working on our masters now. You'll have it knocked out
In the summer.
in the
August.
summer. Yeah. So you'll be
Yep.
you'll have a couple of pieces of paper.
I will.
All right. You've recently been hired at the University of Arkansas.
Correct.
Another big step.
Yep.
Another big step. Talk a little bit about the job placement. You know, you were looking for jobs, things were
Right.
coming open, the different areas you're looking for, and how this came about. You know,
Yep.
hiring on with Arkansas, and you start next week. You start next Monday, a week
Next
from
Monday.
today.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I always really thought that I would be at Florida State.
Yeah.
That was kind of my thought process as I went through college was, I'll get hired on here after I get done. But ultimately it just didn't work out that way. And it goes back to kind of what you were talking about, faith a minute ago. Sometimes you have to, in athletics specifically, you have to be ready to go. It's just part of it. And so I interviewed at Florida State back in December, got in that top pool of people. But just from an experience standpoint, they hired a better guy who was more experienced at the time. And so I was like, man, and
When you say better guy,
more
I got
experience.
is he on MySpace? I want to check him out.
Yeah.
What's his name? I'll take you just text me his
Yeah, I'll
name.
text
You text me his name.
Okay.
I'm gonna look him up on MySpace, and I'm
You
gonna
do.
see how good this guy really
Yeah.
is.
He's
Go
a-
ahead, I'm
he's a good
sorry.
guy. But they ultimately were like, that there was a couple of pieces missing of what exactly they were looking for. And, the people there, I can't say enough about them either because they then turned around and placed me in another position to get me ready for the nail. And so I've been in that position for about the last 6 months, interacting with our donors every day on the ticketing and fundraising side of things. And so that's been amazing to do the last 6 months, and it's prepared me for now. But, the job opportunity that I wanted at FSU just isn't open right now. And so I began to look at other places. I got incredible, opportunities to interview with the University of Tennessee, University of Auburn, obviously Arkansas.
Yeah.
And as I went throughout those processes,
Similar positions at each of these schools.
it was all very similar. Got to interview at A&M. So, it was all great. And it was really just a whole bunch of SEC schools. North Carolina was the only ACC school that I interviewed with, but a lot of these things were going on at the same time. And so there were some decisions that had to be made ultimately, but I don't know. Something about Arkansas just kind of stuck out at the end of the process. A couple of other ones obviously just didn't work out. But as I went through the process with them, I literally remember calling my mom after the Arkansas interview, and I was like, there's no way they don't offer me. It was supposed to be a 30-minute interview. It lasted an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I just knew,
Felt right.
it did.
Yeah.
And I knew right after that, I called her and I was like, they're going to offer me. And it may be 2 weeks from now, maybe 3 weeks. And so I ended up getting on a call with the second from the top, their associate athletic director. I got on a call with him, and, he said, look, really all I have to ask you is just what sets you apart from other people. And I said, it's really just my desire to not be average. I want to be elite in everything that I do. And he
Great
said,
answer.
that's exactly what I've said before. He was like, we'll be in touch. And the next day they called and offered me the job.
That's awesome.
And they gave me 48 hours to decide. And I was and
you've never been there.
never been
Yeah.
there. First job offer.
Yeah.
And so I remember I called my dad, which my dad loves to coach Jackson, get a job.
Yeah.
Get a job. He's been telling me that.
Yeah.
So, he, when I
That's
called
good.
him, he was like,
That's good.
take it. And I was like, well, I didn't even, he's like, nope, take it. And I was like, okay, you're done. Let me talk to mom.
Yeah.
Because mama knows best.
Daddy's trying to get you off the payroll.
That's it. He has a different term for it, but it's probably not appropriate for this show. So, I talked with those close to me and talked to my boss because he's been a person who's been a support system for me in place. And everybody was kind of aligned and saying, like, explore your options, talk. And I went to another school and said, look, I got an offer on the table. This is what it is. And they just could not. There's a whole process that takes place. It's
Yeah.
tough in athletics because it's all run through HR. And so it's, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But ultimately it worked out perfectly. And I ended up accepting it without ever having seen it.
Yeah.
And me and my mom
You
flew
can't
out.
go wrong in the SEC. I mean,
No.
you might could go wrong at one place, but for the most part,
Well,
13 out of 14 isn't bad.
13 out of
You
14.
got a good
for
shot.
Sure. Yeah. I wouldn't, I have to say something about that. And,
Sure.
hopefully none of their athletic administrators listening.
Yeah.
And I don't even think we need to say the name of the school.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody probably
Yeah,
knows. Starts with an A and it's in a place called Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, they're like, because ultimately, like, my goal is to get to an athletic director position, and that may take 20 years, but, that's where I want to climb, and my goals are set high, and, I have aspirations to achieve that, and I've never not achieved something that I didn't set out to do, and so I have confidence in myself that I can get to that level, but people ask me all the time, they're like, well, what if they offered you the athletic director job? And my response back every time is, if I'm good enough to work there, I'm good enough to work anywhere.
Yeah.
I would not.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with it, baby. I love it.
I hate them.
I love it. Hey, I don't care for them either.
But
Okay.
But back to Arkansas.
Yeah.
We ended up flying out there and got to see it, and it's a very small town feel. But
time out. Let me say this: I always pull for Alabama, unless they're playing.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And I stand by. I'm pretty consistent with that.
I love that.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's good stuff.
I tell you, Donald Thompson, he beat me to it. We talk about everything running through the dirty 30. Well, guess who's on staff at Arkansas with the football program?
Scott Felton.
Scott Fountain. WSNL alum, 1984.
Scott Felton. Yep.
Yeah. So, and y'all have already connected.
Yep, they've connected.
Whether it was on MySpace or via text, whatever it was, you're gonna love Scott Fountain.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, we've had him on Drive Time back a couple of years ago. He loves this area. He is always going to be one of ours. Always going to be one of ours.
Right.
You will love him, and he will be that person that if you got out there and if anything ever got overwhelming, you could anchor to Scott. I mean,
absolutely.
He's homeboy. He'll take care of you. I'm looking forward to y'all getting together, and maybe, which I know his schedule's fixing to really get cranked up. But when you get out there and you get settled, we'd love to bring you in on a follow-up show. We can bring you in. Ken's getting in the Shark can bring you in on video and kind of see how it's going. If we could get 5 or 10 minutes of Coach Fountain's time, I'll reach out to him and see if we can. If we can, I certainly understand it. But you're gonna love him.
Yeah, I'm excited to get connected. I mean, it really. I mean, I don't know a single soul out there. I don't know anybody. But that's like the part that I'm least worried about, just because I've been able to make relationships and build them wherever I've been at, and that's part of what I want to do. I mean, that's literally exactly what I'm going out there to do.
Well, talk about fail. You said you take the job,
right?
Then you go out and check out the place and find a place to live. Talk about going into Fayetteville and what the first impression was when you got there.
Oh, my mom, quite literally, and I completely agreed. It was like driving through Bruton, and like you're just driving, and there's different fields and little small businesses everywhere, and then you just see a brick structure that says University of Arkansas, and you're on campus. And then you just drive in, and to the right, there's the football stadium. There's a sorority and fraternity. I mean, it's just like boom. But as I told Mom, I was like, as long as there's Chick-fil-A out there, I'm fine.
Boom.
I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, you got a shot.
There is.
If you got a Chick-fil-A, you got a
I got
shot. You got a shot.
I'll make it.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A, you got a shot.
So we were good there. But ultimately, it's a very small town feel. Not a lot of students on campus while we were out there, and obviously won't be until probably the fall. But a beautiful, beautiful campus. And one of the big things out there, they have a lot of nature and hiking trails.
Yeah.
Which are going to be good for me to hopefully run some of this Chick-fil-A off that I've gained in college.
Yeah.
They talk about the freshman 15. For me, it was like the freshman 30, but really junior 30.
I get it.
So, but no, it's been amazing. Beautiful campus.
When you went out, did you get a chance to go meet your work family, like in person? On that visit?
Yep. So I got to interact with everybody that I'd be working with. It's a very young staff. My boss is only 32 years old.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. And I knew, and that was another thing that really drew me.
Yeah.
For me, one of the things that we've been taught in our program is pick a boss, not a job.
Yeah.
And I think that's really true, because whoever you're working for is in charge of your professional development and growth. And, that was something that was really important to me as I went throughout the interview process, talking with people and kind of seeing what their journey was, because everybody's looking for the next thing.
Yeah.
And so, I think he checked all the boxes for me. Great guy. And so he was a big reason of why I chose that job. But sat down, met with him. I was there probably about 3 hours. They blocked out time in their day to take me around, let me visit all the stadium facilities, took me on a tour, and everything was just like, it was like check, check, check. Everything in the job aspect of it was awesome. And, they were just taking me around the different suites, and they're like, okay, well, this is the premium area for X, and this is premium, and it was just, and I was like,
That's so cool.
and as I was going through, I was like, I know I'm repetitive, but like, man, that's nothing like Florida State. Like, and it's, and when we talk about SEC money, and
Yeah.
it's a
real.
joke, but
It's
it's real.
real.
It is real.
You better believe it's real.
And I mean, it was just unbelievable, some of the things that they were showing me and some behind the scenes things. And then finally, like the last stop, and I guess, that was probably their selling point.
Yeah.
And they're like, they take me into this premium area at the top of their stadium. They're like, oh, this is Jerry Jones' box.
Wow.
And they're like, oh, and this is where we have the Christmas party. I was like, oh,
Nice.
okay.
Merry Christmas.
Does Jerry Jones get to come? Do
Yeah.
I get to shake his hand?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Talk a little bit. You've already hit on it some. You're going to be in charge. You have
Yeah.
You have an account of donors, of boosters,
Right.
that you're going to form relationships with and encourage them to keep feeding the monster, so to speak, to
Right.
make contributions.
Right.
So facilities can be where they are. Coaches can.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, my job title is an account executive, but there's several things that stem off of that.
Yeah.
We have, there's a system in place that most colleges use called Pacquiolin. And I mean, it's just a technology term. But everything is stored in there. So basically, when I get there, they're going to give me a book of business that's about 2,000 accounts, which ultimately adds up to somewhere around 9,000 to 10,000 people.
Yeah.
And I will be over everything relations-wise, donor relations. I mean, I'm their guy.
You're
And
you're
so-
their recruiter. I mean,
I'm their
basically.
guy.
I mean,
Right.
you're gonna, hey,
Right.
you're coming up this weekend. Looking forward to seeing
Correct.
you.
So
My God.
yeah, it's going to be an amazing opportunity to go and meet people in that area. Arkansas has a lot of alum that live in Texas,
Yeah.
in Missouri. I mean, it's all right in that area. And the big selling point for me, like, I mean, college athletics, I mean, I'm a college athletics guy. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where like my passion lies.
Yeah.
I love college athletics
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah.
But I having the opportunity, like, you get to sell a vision. Like, I mean, I'm going to be over ticket sales. Like, I get to sell different tickets,
Sure.
options, and like be the donor relations guy for them, fundraise. I mean, it all kind of comes into one. I mean, there's a lot of responsibilities that I'm personally going to be in charge of. But, I think that there's something to be said about, you get to sell a vision to people. Like, college athletics is like hope for people.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
that's like a getaway
Yeah.
for people. And so that's what kind of drove me to this industry to begin with.
Yeah.
But having an opportunity to go do it somewhere that, like, I really didn't have a
Yeah.
personal, like, connection to, in the SEC, like, I mean, I just think about the experience that I'm going to get, out there. Walmart's out there, General Mills is out there, Tyson Chicken. Like, there's going to be so many opportunities to build relationships that may push me forward from this point.
The people you're gonna meet and the hands that you're gonna get to
Right.
shake, you could make an argument you're gonna do more and better of that at Arkansas than anywhere. I
Right.
mean, you're
No,
gonna
right.
meet some very influential people who
Right.
can push buttons and make things happen. And we talked about, you want to be an athletic director. You seem pretty focused on that.
Yeah.
You're 22, 23?
23.
Okay. Well, at 25, if so-and-so, if Sam Waltz says, I tell you what, I need you, then all
Right.
of a sudden, you have another decision to make. But you're going to meet some unbelievable people over the next
Yeah.
several years.
No, and I'm fired up about that opportunity. But and this mattered for me in my job search. Looking at all the conference realignment that's taken place, being in the SEC or the Big Ten was like really important to me because, as these conferences continue to dissolve and reaffiliate themselves, in this particular industry, people want to go see a product of not only their team but other teams coming in.
Yeah, sure.
And so, like, I mean, I just was looking at different schedules over the next couple of years, and Arkansas's got Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and LSU coming in at home this year. Like, that's an easy sell.
Right.
because of the quality of those teams. Everybody knows who they are, so that mattered to me as well.
Well, we talk about this, in the context that it's a football job, and it's not a football job. Now, football
It's all
pays the
football
bills,
driven, right?
but basketball,
Let's hire Calipari.
Arkansas, yeah, absolutely. Arkansas, you can make an argument across the board athletically is as stronger than anybody.
Absolutely.
Track, they're great. Golf, they're great. Baseball, they're great.
yeah.
Basketball, they're
Across the
great.
board.
And of course, we talked about love. I got to mention women's softball. I mean, it's blood in and blood out every time you go out
Absolutely.
there. I mean,
Absolutely.
with Oklahoma and Texas coming in.
Oh, man.
I mean, things. This is going to be the level of competition is going to be second to none.
Absolutely.
And we talked about Auburn's shortcomings this year in baseball, and I said it sounds like a cop out, but it's the truth. Somebody's going to finish in last place.
Somebody has to.
It was our turn this year in baseball. I think we
Right.
lost 8 one-run games, but Butch Thompson, no less a coach because he finished last. We were in Omaha 2 years ago,
Correct.
and 3 years ago. So I
Right.
mean, the bar's high,
Absolutely.
and if you don't show up to work every day, you're going to fall behind. And it's people in your position who are behind the scenes that are drumming up the support, that are drumming up the enthusiasm that
Absolutely.
help feed these machines that
Sure
go out
thing.
and compete on the field. So I mean, I don't want to understate or undersell what your position will be. I mean, these
Right.
people need to have a good time, win or lose. These
Correct.
people need to be
Right.
need to be excited, win
Right.
or lose, because you're going to lose some. But the fact that you're going to be there helping drive that, and of course, we talked a little bit about what your schedule was on a baseball game. I mean, my God, on a home football game,
That's all day.
if you kick off at 6:30, your day is going to start probably at 6 o'clock that morning. They're probably going to start on Thursday or Friday as people
Right.
are coming into town, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then Sunday after church, you're probably going to be looking for a nap.
Absolutely. Well, and I just got a little golden retriever puppy not too long ago, so I'm already looking at boarding options for him.
Yeah.
He's going to have to go up that day.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you so you will have responsibilities during basketball season with Coach Cal as well, I'm assuming.
There will be some.
Some? Or is-
It'll be very sporadic,
Yeah.
actually. Our premium areas in the basketball. I'm a basketball guy. I love
Yeah.
college basketball.
Me and you both.
And
Me and you both.
Arkansas's arena holds 23,000 people. Like, it's an insane.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm very excited about that because like at my time at Florida State, the first year we were really good. We had a good run, and then the last couple of years it's been really bad. So I'm excited to go see good quality basketball again.
Do y'all have the Grand Canyon on the schedule by any chance?
I don't know. I haven't even looked at it.
All right. If they do, if you had a couple of tickets, let me know. I'd like to
Yeah.
come out and watch that one. That'd be a good one.
TCU.
Yeah. Is that what
Okay.
they're called? Yeah. The Grand
Yeah.
Canyon? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. TGC.
Yeah. Did you see?
Powerhouse.
Oh yeah.
Powerhouse.
They had Bama last year. Should have beat them in the
Yeah.
NCAA tournament.
Tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Did you even know they had a team?
No.
I thought they were a national park.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to the Grand Canyon.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway.
Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. One of the things that I hope will continue to take place, I mentioned this a little bit to you early on. When you get older, you find different ways to be entertained. And I don't mind telling you, I'll say it right here in front of the 17 people that are in with us this morning. My favorite form of entertainment is on Saturday night into Sunday morning sometimes, when one of the two teams have not performed well on the field, watching you and Anna Grace White with your Facebook feud. It's my favorite. I stalk it. I follow it. At different times, I've encouraged it.
Absolutely.
And I've been on both sides of that.
Yeah.
I don't pull
Don't
for
pull
a
for one
winner.
side,
I just
no.
pull for the fight.
Correct.
And I
Yeah.
enjoy that, and I hope you don't get so busy that goes away.
I feel very confident in saying that feud is not going away anytime soon. Anna Grace she's everybody gets so mad at my hatred for Bama, and I keep telling them if y'all just wouldn't say anything, and even my mom gets so mad. She's like, take it down. And no, I'm not going to take it down. There's nothing I love more in this world that gives me more satisfaction than after an Alabama loss. And even everybody knows, they're like, are you going to post on Facebook? I'm like, absolutely. I'm going to post on Facebook. No doubt.
My favorite.
That feud's not going away.
Good.
It's not.
I want that. I need that.
And
I need that.
And you let Arkansas beat Alabama. You let that happen.
So now you have an extra bullet in the gun.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
you have somebody else
Oh,
to
yeah.
go with. I think her go-to post that just tickles me is she'll go hashtag rent free.
Rent free.
Rent free.
They all love to say that
Rent
one.
free.
I can assure you that Alabama does not live rent free in my head.
Rent free. Rent free. The hatred is real. There's Earl. Roll Tide roll every day, all day. I hear you, Earl. He's my friend. He's gonna stay my friend. What What have we not gotten to that we need to get to or need to talk about? Have we missed anything? You've been great today. And I want to say this, our community helped grew this. I mean, this is a great place.
It's a byproduct.
It's a great. I mean, you're outstanding.
Appreciate that.
I'm gonna in some ways I'm gonna live vicariously through you. I will send you texts every who'd you meet this week?
Right.
What were the snacks in the concession stand this
snacks
and the sweet?
That's really the number one priority.
What were the snacks and the sweet this week?
I will say this.
Pork tenderloin?
When we went out there, we went to a barbecue place. It was called Wright's.
Yeah.
I'm a barbecue guy.
Okay. Yeah.
I love barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it was a driving factor. It was a part of consideration.
Do you have a taste for chicken pot pie?
I do like it. I'm not a peas guy though.
Okay.
So
I got one. Yeah, that's there. That's one of the staples. It's
a little tough for me.
What's your? We talked about it's hard to take Chick-fil-A off the table, okay? Because Chick-fil-A's outside of Chick-fil-A. What's your go-to?
Oh man,
barbecue.
I mean, barbecue is certainly up there. I mean, there's several different chains within Tallahassee. People probably won't be familiar with a place called Four Rivers, but it's a chain. If you ever get a chance to go Four Rivers, you go. Probably for me, it would probably be Cane's, which we don't really have one directly around here.
Yeah.
But we have one in Tallahassee. It's a big Louisiana staple, and they do have them out there.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be the go-to.
What about a chicken finger? Do you care for a chicken finger?
Oh, I love a chicken finger.
What's your favorite finger?
Oh, man.
Have you ever been to Tender Chick in Auburn?
No.
If you ever make it back up to Auburn, Tender Chick. Now, I mean, Guthrie's is fine.
I like Guthrie's.
Fusakli's is fine.
Right.
But give Tender Chick a shot.
They probably Guthrie's for me.
Shoestring fries?
Yeah.
Whew.
Oh, yeah.
Hard to beat it.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Well, pal, hope you have a good day. Hope you've rested up. You looked a little tired on the plane coming back from Tulsa last Friday. Is there a Publix? Are there Publixes?
No Publixes.
No Publix.
It is only Walmart.
Yeah, I'd fix to say he's got a stranglehold out there on that.
That's where it originated from, and the distribution center's out there. So it's four cities. It's called NWA, Northwest Arkansas, and there's 4 cities: Fayetteville, Bentonville, and then there's 2 others like right on the borders of the other 2 cities. But that's where, I mean, it's all Walmart, and it's very young professional driven out there.
Yeah,
which is a good thing I think for me. 'Cause I'm trying to meet my wife too, DJ.
Hey,
I'm trying. Yeah. That's a priority as well. So hopefully there's some good prospects out there.
I've done it twice.
Yeah.
Same one both times. It can happen, man. It can happen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, it's been I appreciate you making time to come in and visit with us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
It's always fun to catch up with you, and I especially enjoy your energy.
Yeah.
And excited about what's happening for you and the direction your life's going. You're going to be leaving us. How many hours away is Arkansas from
10.5.
Don't forget where you came from.
Never will.
I know you won't get a lot of chances to come home, but when you do, I hope I get to get 5 minutes of your time. We
Absolutely.
can go grab an icy or something, or whatever it is, and catch up. But we'll definitely be in touch. We're excited about what this fall and the next year holds for you. We're going to wish FSU good luck in Omaha. Hope they get it done. That'd be a good send off. So. And you give Coach Fountain a hug for us when we get out there. And
absolutely,
we're going to check in with you later.
Will do. Sounds great.
Chandler McBride,
appreciate it.
One of our best.
Yes, sir.
It's been a great day on Drive Time. Hope everybody has a great week. Remember to shop local, and if you have some time to waste tomorrow, I think Kenwood's going to be in Studio B. I'll be out doing a little golf recruiting. So
yeah.
Y'all have a great week, and our exit is the Arkansas fight song. We came in with the FSU war chant,
beat it.
Going out with the Arkansas fight song. So, Chandler, thanks.
Thank you, DJ.
Y'all have a good one.
Woo pig.